You ever have one of those moments where you see it coming? Where you just know, someone's about to try to break you, and there's not a damn thing you can do to stop it? That's where Maya Johnson was on a Tuesday morning in October, standing in the marble lobby of the Sterling Tower with a mop in her hands and an envelope in her face. Let me paint you the picture. Maya was 52 years old. Dark skin that had seen too much sun through bus windows on early morning commutes. Hair pulled back so tight it gave her headaches, because God forbid a single strand be out of place and give them one more reason to look at her sideways. Hands that were raw from bleach and hard work, the kind of hands that told a story before she ever opened her mouth. She'd been cleaning that building for 6 years. 6 years. And in all that time, not one person had asked her name. Not one. They called her the cleaning lady, if they called her anything at all. Mostly, they just looked right through her, like she was furniture that occasionally moved. But on this particular Tuesday morning, Victoria Whitmore didn't look through her. Oh no. Victoria saw her just fine. Now, Victoria Whitmore was everything Maya wasn't, at least on the surface. 60 years old but looked 45 thanks to a surgeon in Manhattan and a trainer who came to her house 6 days a week. Blonde hair in that expensive way that looks effortless but costs $600 every 3 weeks. She was wearing a cream Chanel suit that probably cost more than Maya made in 3 months. But here's the thing about Victoria that you need to understand, she was bored. Bored with her life. Bored with her friends. Bored with having everything and feeling nothing. And bored people with too much money and too little empathy. They're dangerous. Because they start looking for entertainment in all the wrong places. She stepped out of the elevator, Louboutins clicking on the floor Maya had just polished, and nearly tripped. I think it's important to give back, don't you? Let people see what they could aspire to. The executives laughed. Actually laughed. Victoria swept into the elevator, leaving Maya standing there with that cream envelope and the weight of everyone's stares. The security guard looked away. The executives followed Victoria into the elevator, still chuckling. And Maya stood there alone, holding an invitation to her own public humiliation. Now, here's what Victoria Whitmore didn't know. What none of them knew. Because when you're invisible, when people don't ask questions, when they decide your whole story based on a uniform and a mop bucket, they miss things. Big things. Maya Johnson hadn't always cleaned floors. 23 years ago, she'd been Maya Davis, and she'd been somebody. Not rich, not society page famous, but somebody. She'd had a master's degree in social work from Columbia. She'd run the largest women's shelter network in Chicago. She'd testified before Congress about domestic violence prevention. She'd been married to a man she loved, had a daughter she adored, had a life that meant something. And then, in one night, a drunk driver had taken it all away. Her husband Michael. Her baby girl, 7-year-old Jasmine. Gone in an instant on I-90. Maya had survived. Physically. Everything else. That had died in the car with them. The grief had swallowed her whole. She'd lost her job because she couldn't stop crying long enough to do it. Lost her apartment because she couldn't pay rent. Lost herself because without Michael and Jasmine, she didn't know who she was supposed to be. She'd ended up in New York by accident, running from memories that followed her anyway. Started cleaning because it was simple, because it didn't require her to feel anything, because she could disappear into the work and not have to remember what it felt like to be whole. 23 years of disappearing. 23 years of being invisible. Until Victoria Whitmore decided to make her visible in the cruelest way possible. That evening, Maya sat in her studio apartment in Queens, a place so small you could see everything from the front door. She sat on her second-hand couch with that cream envelope on the coffee table, staring at it like it might bite her. Her phone rang. The only person who ever called. Hi, Grace. Grace Williams was 71 years old, lived in the apartment next door, and was the closest thing to family Maya had left. She'd been a seamstress in Harlem for 40 years before retiring, and her fingers could still work magic with fabric and thread. "Baby, you sound terrible," Grace said. "What happened?" Maya told her. All of it. The invitation, the humiliation, Victoria's cruel smile, the watching executives. Silence on the other end. Then, "What time is the wedding?" "Grace, I'm not going." "Are you crazy? This is a trap. She wants to humiliate me in front of everyone. I'd walk in there in my best dress, which is 10 years old and came from Target, and they'd laugh me out of the plaza." "What time," Grace repeated, steel in her voice, "is the wedding?" "Saturday. 7 p.m. Come over here. Right now." "Right now, Maya Johnson. We got work to do." What happened over the next 4 days was something close to magic. Grace's apartment was filled with fabric, remnants from her seamstress days, pieces she'd collected over decades. She pulled out a length of deep burgundy silk that shimmered like wine in candlelight. "This was supposed to be for a client 20 years ago," Grace said, running her weathered hands over the fabric. "She never came back for it. I've been saving it for something important." Maya said, "Grace, I can't." "Hush," Grace said firmly. "You can, and you will. Now stand still." She measured Maya with practiced precision, her fingers gentle but certain. And as she worked, she talked. "You know what your problem is, baby? You've been hiding so long, you forgot you're worth finding. You've been carrying your grief like a punishment, like you don't deserve to be seen anymore because the people you loved are gone." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "But Michael and Jasmine? They wouldn't want this for you. They wouldn't want you erased. Invisible." "I don't know how to be anything else anymore," Maya whispered. "Then we're going to remember together." Grace worked through the nights. Her old fingers moved with the muscle memory of decades, creating something that wasn't just a dress, it was a statement. A refusal. A reclamation. The burgundy silk became a gown with clean lines and a fitted bodice. Elegant. Simple. Powerful. No sequins, no desperate grabs for attention. Just perfect construction and a color that would make Maya's dark skin glow like it was lit from within. On Friday afternoon, Grace took Maya to her cousin's salon in Brooklyn. "Angela," Grace said to the stylist, "I need you to work one of your miracles." Angela took one look at Maya, at her tired eyes and tightly pulled back hair, and smiled. "Baby, the miracle is already there. We're just going to let people see it." She washed away years of practicality. Cut Maya's hair into soft, natural curls that framed her face and made her look 10 years younger. Showed her how to do makeup that enhanced instead of hid, highlighting the high cheekbones and deep brown eyes she'd been born with. When Maya looked in the mirror, she saw someone she hadn't seen in 23 years. Herself. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Yeah," Angela said softly. "There you are." Saturday evening. The Plaza Hotel blazed with light, dripping with the kind of old-money elegance that was designed to make you feel small if you didn't belong. Maya stood across the street, watching luxury cars pull up, watching women in designer gowns glide inside on the arms of men in custom tuxedos. Her hands were shaking. "I can't do this," she said to Grace, who'd come with her in the cab. "Yes, you can. They're going to laugh at me. Victoria's going to." "Victoria," Grace interrupted, "is going to learn something tonight. And so are you." "What?" Grace took Maya's face in her weathered hands. "That dignity isn't something someone gives you, baby. It's something you carry. And you've been carrying it every day for 23 years, through grief, through loss, through being invisible. You think scrubbing floors made you less? It made you stronger. Because you survived. You kept going. That's dignity." She stepped back, looked at Maya in the burgundy gown that caught the streetlights and shimmered. "Now you go in there, and you hold your head up, and you remind them that you're human. That's all. Just, be human. Be visible. Let them see you. Maya took a shaky breath and walked toward the plaza. The moment Maya stepped into that ballroom, something shifted in the air. It wasn't dramatic. Wasn't like a movie. But people noticed. The way you notice when something real enters a room full of performance. When genuine grace walks into a space full of people trying to buy it. The burgundy dress moved like water. Maya's natural curls caught the chandelier light. She wore no jewelry except small gold hoops, simple, elegant, real. She looked like someone who belonged anywhere she chose to stand. A server offered her champagne. She took it with a quiet, thank you, that made him do a double take, because people at these events didn't usually thank servers. Maya scanned the room and found Victoria immediately, holding court near the elaborate floral arrangements, surrounded by women in their 50s and 60s, all dripping in diamonds and designer labels. Victoria was mid-sentence when she saw Maya. Her champagne glass actually stopped halfway to her mouth. The women around her turned to see what had caught her attention, and a ripple of confusion moved through the group. Because this stunning woman in burgundy, didn't look like she was crashing the party. She looked like she was elevating it. Victoria recovered quickly, plastering on that cruel smile. Well, well, she said loudly, drawing even more attention. Look who actually showed up. Ladies, this is Maya, she cleans my building. She waited for the laughter. Expected it. But something was off. Because Maya didn't flinch. Didn't look down. Didn't perform the shame Victoria was expecting. She just smiled, a genuine, warm smile, and said, "Hello, Mrs. Whitmore. Thank you again for the invitation. Your daughter's wedding is beautiful." The grace in her voice, the complete absence of embarrassment, threw Victoria off balance. "I'm surprised you could find something to wear," Victoria pressed, her voice getting sharper. "Where did you get that dress? Rent it?" "A friend made it for me," Maya said calmly. She used to be a seamstress. Very talented. One of the women in Victoria's circle, an elegant black woman in her 60s, stepped closer, examining the dress with a critical eye. "That's exquisite construction," she said. "Whoever made this knows what they're doing. Is that silk charmeuse?" "Yes, ma'am," Maya replied. "And you said, she used to clean your building," the woman asked Victoria, her tone cooling noticeably. "She does clean my building," Victoria corrected. Present tense. "She's the maintenance staff." The woman's expression shifted to something like disgust. "So you invited someone who works for you to your daughter's wedding, to humiliate her? In public?" "I don't know, it was just a joke." "Where's the punchline?" another woman asked, and her voice was ice. "Because I'm not laughing." Victoria's face flushed. "You don't understand, I was just." "You were just being cruel," the first woman said flatly. She turned to Maya. "I apologize on behalf of whoever raised this woman so poorly. I'm Patricia Montgomery. You have excellent taste, and you carry yourself beautifully." She extended her hand. Maya took it, something breaking open in her chest. "Maya Johnson. Well, Maya Johnson, would you like to join me at my table? I'm afraid Victoria's company has become tedious." More women broke away from Victoria's circle. 2, then 3, then 5, gravitating toward Maya with genuine smiles and introductions. Victoria stood there, isolated, watching her social power crumble in real time. "Wait," she said desperately. "You don't understand, she's nobody." "She's somebody enough to be kind when you're cruel," Patricia said without looking back. "That makes her more than you'll ever be." The evening unfolded like a dream Maya thought she'd forgotten how to have. She sat at a table with women who asked her questions. Real questions. About her life, her thoughts, her story. Not because they were slumming or performing charity, but because they were actually interested. And slowly, carefully, Maya began to tell the truth. About Michael and Jasmine. About the accident. About the grief that had swallowed her whole and the years of disappearing because being invisible felt safer than being broken in public. The women listened. Really listened. I had a son, Patricia said quietly. Overdose. 12 years ago. I understand that kind of loss. The kind that makes you want to become someone else because being yourself hurts too much. Another woman reached across the table and squeezed Maya's hand. You survived. That takes more strength than anything else. Across the ballroom, Victoria sat alone at her table. Her husband was networking, oblivious. Her friends had scattered, embarrassed by association. She kept looking over at Maya, surrounded by laughter and warmth, and something like comprehension finally crossed her face. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Maya was supposed to be humiliated, isolated, broken. Instead, Victoria was all those things. The bride, Melissa, Victoria's daughter, was 26 and had been watching the whole thing unfold with growing horror. She found her mother in the bathroom, reapplying lipstick with shaking hands. What did you do? Melissa asked. Nothing. I invited her. You invited someone to humiliate them at my wedding. At my wedding, Mom. Sweetheart, she's just. Just what? Just human. Just someone who didn't deserve to be treated like a punchline. Victoria's lipstick smeared. She looked old suddenly, and small. You don't understand. People like her. People like her. Melissa's voice cracked. You mean people who work for a living? People who survive tragedy? People who show up every day and do hard work that you don't even notice? I was trying to. You were trying to feel superior by making someone else feel small. And it backfired. Because that woman out there. She has more dignity in her little finger than you've shown in your entire life. Melissa left her mother standing there, makeup ruined, alone. As the evening wound down, Maya found herself on the plaza's terrace, looking out over Central Park. The city glowed like scattered stars. Melissa approached, still in her wedding dress. Ms. Johnson. I'm Melissa. I'm so sorry for what my mother did. Maya turned, saw this young woman with tears in her eyes, and felt something soften in her chest. It's not your fault, Maya said gently. I know, but, Melissa's voice broke. I'm getting married today, and all I can think about is how my mother tried to ruin someone's life for entertainment. What does that say about how I was raised? What does that say about me? Maya was quiet for a moment, then said, You came to apologize. You saw cruelty and you rejected it. That says everything about who you chose to become, despite how you were raised. I want to be better than her, Melissa whispered. Then be kind, Maya said simply. That's all it takes. Just, see people. Actually see them. Ask their names. Recognize their humanity. That's how you become better. Melissa hugged her, this stranger in Burgundy who taught her more in one evening than a lifetime of country clubs and cotillions. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for coming. For being you. Maya left the plaza just before midnight. Grace was waiting in the lobby, dozing in an overstuffed chair. How'd it go, baby? Maya sat down beside her friend, and for the first time in 23 years, she laughed. Really laughed. She tried to break me, Maya said. Tried to humiliate me in front of everyone. And I remembered something. Maya looked at her friend, her eyes bright with tears that weren't from sadness anymore. I remembered that Michael and Jasmine loved me. Not because of what I did or what I wore or where I stood in society. Just, me. Maya. And that love didn't die with them. It's still here. She pressed her hand to her chest. Still mine. Still real. Grace smiled, took Maya's hand. I remembered that I'm somebody, Maya continued, her voice strengthening. Not because of a title or a job or money. But because I'm human. Because I survived. Because I kept going even when everything in me wanted to stop. And Victoria Whitmore? Maya thought about that woman, sitting alone in a ballroom full of people, wealthy and miserable and small. Victoria Whitmore doesn't know how to see people, Maya said. She only knows how to categorize them. Above her, below her. Useful, disposable. She lives in a world so small, she has to tear others down just to feel big. You feel sorry for her? Maya considered this. No. But I'm not angry anymore either. Because here's what I know now, cruelty comes from emptiness. From people so hollow inside, they need to consume others just to feel anything at all. She stood, helped Grace to her feet. But me? I'm full. Full of grief and love and survival and strength. I'm so full of life, even the hard parts, even the broken parts, that there's no room for her cruelty to live in me anymore. They walked out of the plaza together, two women in the New York night, one in burgundy silk, one in her Sunday best, both carrying more grace than that ballroom had seen in years. Monday morning, Maya walked into the Sterling Tower in her uniform, pushing her cleaning cart. But something was different. She held her head higher. Met people's eyes. Smiled. The security guard looked up from his desk. Morning, Maya. How was your weekend? She stopped, surprised he'd asked. Surprised he'd used her name. It was good, Marcus, she said, reading his name tag for the first time in 6 years. Really good. How was yours? He blinked, caught off guard by being seen in return. It was nice. Thank you for asking. In the elevator, a young executive got in, earbuds in, eyes on his phone. Maya reached over and pressed the button for his floor. He looked up, startled. Oh. Thanks. You're welcome. Have a good day. He pulled out one earbud. You too. I'm sorry, I don't think we've met. I'm David. Maya, she said, shaking his hand. Such a small thing. A name. An acknowledgement of existence. But it changed everything. Victoria Whitmore came into the office that day and went straight to her husband's corner suite. She didn't look at Maya. Couldn't. Because here's the thing about cruelty, it only works when the victim accepts the shame you're offering. When they internalize the narrative you're selling. When they agree that they're less. But Maya hadn't agreed. She'd walked into that ballroom and refused the role Victoria had written for her. Refused to be small, refused to be ashamed, refused to disappear. And in refusing, she'd held up a mirror that showed Victoria exactly who she was, a woman so desperate to feel superior that she tried to destroy someone at her own daughter's wedding. That mirror was unbearable. Within a month, word had spread through the social circles Victoria inhabited. The women she'd considered friends stopped returning calls. Invitations dried up. Melissa barely spoke to her. She'd tried to make Maya invisible. Instead, she'd erased herself. The choice Maya made to be visible. To say, I matter. I'm human. I deserve dignity not because of what I do, but because of what I am. That's the story. Not revenge. Not a dramatic comeuppance. Just the quiet, powerful act of refusing to be erased. Because here's what I need you to understand, what I need you to carry with you. Every person you pass, every person you dismiss, every person in a uniform or behind a counter or cleaning a floor, they're carrying a universe inside them. Stories and losses and loves and strengths you'll never see if you don't bother to look. And the tragedy isn't that we overlook these people. The tragedy is what we lose by not seeing them. The wisdom we miss. The connections we never make. The humanity we trade for the illusion of superiority. Maya Johnson didn't win because she wore a beautiful dress or because Victoria's plan backfired. Maya won because she remembered something Victoria never learned. That worth is intrinsic. That dignity is portable. That grace doesn't need an audience or permission or validation. It just needs to be true. And the truth? The truth is that every person matters. Every story counts. Every human being deserves to be seen. Not for what they do, but for who they are. That's the message. That's the story. That's the truth that will set us free, if we're brave enough to live it. Thanks for watching. Tell us what you learned from this story in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.